Hello, good day. Let's start this new lesson for Unreal Engine 5.7.2.
Hello, good day. Welcome back. In this video, we will continue with the lesson for creating the assassination system. So let's get started. So we go to Content, we go to this folder RPG Blueprints, right click, select Blueprint class, choose Character, and we call this BP underscore dummy. And we open it. Now let's go to the mesh. You'll choose a skeletal mesh. You'll choose money. Location will be -89. Rotation will be -90. For the add-in class, click here. So we'll choose ABP unarmed, compile and save. Now what we need to do is create an assassination radius. That will be an area behind this character. So if we sneak up behind the character and stab the character in the back in the assassination radius, then the character can be assassinated. So obviously this will have to be like, let's say, a spear collision. It has to be some kind of collision object. So what we'll do, just select this. Well, click anywhere on the screen here, or you could just go to here, it doesn't really matter, and click add, type spear. You'll select spear collision. I'll call this spear collision. Carry this back, compile, I'll save. You know what? I'll just call this assassination radius. Now you could adjust the size here, carry it up a bit. I think 44, I'll put it at 44. But you could adjust the size as you see fit. Also, you can scroll down here by collision and make sure the collision preset is set to overlap all dynamic. That's it here. Now we need to go to the blueprint for third person character. So I think that'll be third person. Okay, so this is the assassin. So we drag from here, started, and type for each loop. And from the array, we'll drag from here and get overlapping actors. So maybe put this here. So now let's create a blueprint interface. I think we could create this in the blueprints folder. So go to the blueprints, right click, and you go to blueprint and you select blueprint interface. So you call it BPI underscore assassination and open it up, compile and save. And you'll see it will have a function here. It will be a new function here. We'll just click it and we call this stealth back assassin. And to make it everything one name. So this should give us an output. So this output, you want this output to be a vector. The output will be a reference location. It will give us another output. We call this assassin rotation. And the variable type will be a rotator. Save, compile and save. So we are doing this because we were trying to trying to bypass casting. So rather than having to cast the blueprint for each, well, for each character or each actor, I mean, every time you cast, you create a hard reference. So we'll use a blueprint interface because, I mean, this is just more efficient. So now we can go to the blueprint for our dummy. We need to go to class settings. I need to go to implemented interfaces. That's down here. We'll add, we'll look for the BPI. That will sit here, assassination. So we are now connecting this dummy blueprint to the interface, assassination interface that we just created. So rather than having to cast this dummy anytime you want to reference this dummy, all you just need to do is reference this assassination interface, and anything that you want could work automatically with the dummy because we already linked this dummy to the assassination interface. Well, yes, well, which is our blueprint interface. So now we have to go to the blueprint of our third-person character. You go to the array element and type does object implement interface. For the interface, we need to look for BPI assassination. So if the object has this interface, so we are creating a condition. So what we need to do is create a branch. This will be the condition. Connect this. We'll do the stealth pack assassin. You'll connect this here. Remember, blueprint interfaces have this icon here. For now, you'll compile and save. And you can see here that we are not casting to this blueprint, the BP dummy. So if we have another type of enemy, let's say, so we have this dummy, so like, let's say it could be wolf, it could be a dog, it could be a cat, I just calling random different things, enemies it could be attacking. So this interface could still work without having to cast each individual blueprint. You just have to cast the blueprint interface, and then you'll be able to implement this logic here without having to link with each individual blueprint. And this is relatively efficient. This consumes less memory because every time you cast, let's say, a blueprint, what will happen is that that blueprint will automatically be loaded into the memory. However, if you cast a blueprint interface, what will happen, all the logic that you want will be in a blueprint interface, and whatever you want to interact with, once you cast or load from that blueprint interface, you will just be able to pull whatever logic that you want. So in terms of your memory, this is relatively more efficient, and it allows you to get a better frames per second when you're playing your game. So now let's get the mesh, drag the mesh here, and you could drag from here and play montage. Obviously, we have to connect this. And in montage you play, okay, so you have plenty montages now. So you want to look at the paired night stealth, the attack montage. Yeah, that's this one here. Now what we'll do is get the motion warping. Then you type add or update warp target. You'll connect here. You want to right click the warp target and you split it. And then we'll connect the location to the location and the rotation to the rotation here. Observe we connected yellow with yellow and purple with purple, or lilac or violet, whatever you want to call that color. We'll compile and save. So now we need to get a name. So go to the content draw. We need to go to the animations. So the animations was here, whereby go to character, animations, assassinations, it wasn't retargeted, attack, that was it here. Type name. This was the name here. So copy, Control C, go to the blueprint, press Control V. Then we'll compile and save. So now let's give this a comment. We'll highlight everything. Press C. And you call it stealth assassination. Compile and save. So now what you could do, go to level, you can drag the dummy inside. So look for the blueprints, drag the dummy, and we can press play. We can go behind the dummy I can press left click. Yes, this is working, but you can make some slight adjustments to it. So let's go to the dummy blueprint. For the interface, you can double click and open this. So that you go into the function. So you want to create some space. You want, when we are assassinated, that we play a montage. You play this animation montage, and the one will be the knife the victim. So now it will play the animation montage. We'll compile and save. Now we want to make sure that we get these two nodes. So what we'll do, we'll stay in the same blueprint, the dummy. We'll go to the viewport. We'll select the mesh. We'll duplicate it. And we'll call it assassin reference. We'll select it. We'll drag this back out here. We can go to the animation mode and choose use animation asset. And for the animation to play, we'll go to here. We want the actual, we type is stealth. You select the montage. That's the attacker here. So we'll select that. We'll take off plane. And for the initial position, we'll put a value of 1. Then what we'll do, we'll select the mesh. We change the animation mode to the asset. And for the animation to play, well, you're choosing montage, type stealth. You select the victim. Take off plane. Initial position, put a value of 1. So what essentially we are doing is that this will be our player, and we want to tune the position. So you want to motion warp the position. So in other words, when we're playing the assassination, we want to align these two meshes to show where the player will be and where the victim will be. Save. So make sure we have this assassin game reference. And what we'll do, we'll go up here and type hidden. We want to make sure this is as hidden in game, so we could see it here in the viewport, but we don't want to see this in the game. So we just take off this. So in the same Assassin's ref, we want to make sure there's no collision enable. So go to collision. We have no collision. All right, that's good. Now we can go back into the interface, get the assassin reference, get world location, and we'll plug it as the location. We'll drag across this. For the rotation, we'll just right click, get actor rotation. That's it here. And we'll just connect this inside here. Then we'll compile and then we will save. So now what we'll do is go back to the viewport, select not the assassin ref, the mesh for the character. You'll put it back into the animation blueprint. You'll go back to the AGP unarmed. You'll compile. You'll save. Go back to here. Press play. All right, it's working, but I mean, total align better, but yeah. Let's go back to the blueprint for the dummy, and let's go to the event graph. You'll create a custom event, and we call it ragdoll. Compile and save. You'll drag from here and make a delay. The delay will be like 2.5 seconds. You want to get the mesh of the enemy, and I will set simulate physics. So we select the mesh. You go down to the collision presets. Just type collision because it's not too difficult to. So the presets, you put this as custom. The camera, you set this to ignore, compile, and save. Then you go to the capsule component, and in the collision presets, we change from pawn to ignore only pawn. Compile and save. Then we end the same blueprint, dummy blueprint. You go back to the function and you play the ragdoll. Compile and save. So now if you go to the level and you press play, what will happen? Let's go behind character. Press left click. I mean, it is working. And now the character is ragdolling. Anyway, let's go to the content draw. Let's go to the content. Let's create a new folder. Let's call this folder called user interface UI. Let's create, right click, go to user interface, select widget blueprint. You'll select widget, user widget, and you call this W assassin prompt, WB widget blueprint assassin prompt. Double click and open this. So first we go here and create a canvas panel. Select this and drag this into here, the hierarchy. Then we'll get text. That text, I will drag this text block into the middle of the screen. With the text block selected, go to the anchor, put it in the middle of the screen. And for the position X and for the position Y, you put each at 0. And for the alignment in the X-axis, put it at 0.5. And for the meantime, you'll compile and save. For the text, you put something like a brackets, LM for left mouse, brackets, and type assassinate, something like this. You'll drag this around here. For the position X, this is supposed to be 0. So now let's compile. You'll save. You'll close this. And we'll go back. You'll close this as well. And let's go back into the dummy. Compile and save this. Let's go into the dummy. You'll go back to the viewport. You have nothing selected. We add a component and type widget. You'll just select this one, the top one widget, not the widget interaction. And this will be the assassinate widget. Compile and save. Then what we'll do, go to the details panel, type user interface. For the widget class, we'll go here and we select the widget that we just created. So you have it here. We actually could see it now. So let's go around. We can put this over the head to the size, scale, put this at 0.6. All right, so it's smaller and it's right over the character's head. All right, so that's better. So now what we can do is enable and disable this widget anytime that we want to perform an assassination. So we'll go to the assassination radius and we'll scroll down. So it covers this W and scroll down to on component begin overlap. So when an actor enters this radius, we want to cast to our third person character. So what we'll do is we'll get the widget and we're going to set the visibility to true. Select this, we want to be able to see it. We just compiled and save. You have to save. And we need to do the opposite. So for the assassination radius, we go back here. on components and overlap. So we'll do the same thing on an actor, cast to BP, third person character. Duplicate this. No visibility. Compile and save. Also, we want to go to the stack back assassination and you'll get the widget. So you'll get the widget. You want to set the visibility to disable it. We'll connect this here. Connect this here. So then we'll put this as disabled. So now we go back to the event graph. For the event tick, drag up here. You get the widget. We will set the world rotation. We'll connect this. For the new rotation, drag from here. Find, look at rotation. You compile. Okay, so can't compile yet. You save. So there's a starting point. I'll just duplicate this. Get world location. Plug this into the starting point. Then you right click, get player camera manager, get world location. And we are now just going to plug this into the targets. Now, the reason why I add these additional nodes up here is because I want the widget that says left mouse button assassinate. I want when we appear in the front, we appear in the back. Once we appear behind the camera, once we be here behind the character, you could see the widget that mentions left mouse button assassinate. Now we could compile and now we could save. The reason why we couldn't compile and save just now was we couldn't compile, but we could have saved, was because it didn't have the start and target information, but we have it now. Now this should be invisible by default. So let me just double check. Select the widget here and search for visibility. And by default, it should be disabled. I'll compile, save. You go to level, press play. What will happen? You can go behind character. Now, as we appear behind character, we see the word assassinate. As we move away, we're not seeing assassinate, so we know we can only assassinate when we go behind. And now, if you press left mouse button, you can perform the assassination. So, I mean, this is working. So, I mean, we have set up the system for the assassination. We achieved the objectives of this video, so I could end this video here. Thank you.
That is it for this lecture. Do you want to learn more? Like and subscribe. You can also contact us, Impulse Response Enterprises Ltd.